We've got 6:30, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the November 28th meeting of the Merrimack Conservation Commission. We have no public hearings scheduled. So the first item of business for us is new business. Two advisory pieces here. The first one is Starton Realty LLC is the owner applicant. It's the review for recommendations to the planning board regarding final approval for the site plan for addition of a gas station, convenience store, and drive-through coffee shop at the site of an existing car wash. The parcel is located at 376 DW Highway in the C2 General Commercial Aquifer Conservation and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts. The tax map is 4D-3, lot 002, case number PB 2022-40. And I guess before we start with that, Mike, would you sit in as a voting member for Gage?
Yes.
And Dave, will you do the same for Cindy? All right. If you would, you're presenting that? If you would just come to the table, and before you start, will you just say for the name, your record, say for the record your name?
Good evening, everyone. My name
Is your green light on? It looks like it is.
It does look like it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that good? Okay.
No, he's saying no. Push it again, please.
There you go.
There it is.
Yep,
Okay,
there you go.
there we go. That's definitely on. Oh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Russell Rucker with Wilcox and Barton. I am here before you tonight to present the Starton Realty project. They are the owner and the applicant. We are the design engineering firm responsible for the work on this project. The purpose of this project is to revamp an existing commercial facility off of Daniel Webster Highway. The current facility is mostly developed. It's mostly developed impervious facilities. It's a car wash facility. We propose no changes to the car wash facility and its washing cycles or systems. We're going to do a building addition for a convenience store added on to the attendant space for a gasoline facility. And we're going to demolish an existing attached garage next to the car wash facility that's not in use today. We're going to turn that into a drive-through coffee shop. No intention at the moment to make that a commercial kitchen. What you'll see here is the site to my right on the board here. It has a drive-through entrance, single drive-through entrance separated by an island, one way in, one way out. Right now, the middle island area has some vacuums. We're going to take those out and put in a new canopy system over dispensers. And then a pull through for the car wash, that central corridor for the building that runs towards Daniel Webster Highway is that drive-through car wash area. Just underneath it, you'll see is the attached garage space. And I'll flip this over and show you the site plan. Okay, so as you can see, we have just two small additions. One slightly expands the footprint of that garage on the left-hand side for that drive-through coffee shop. The added impervious spaces for this property are really just for that drive-through lane for the coffee shop. There is some off-site improvements to Daniel Webster Highway. We're gonna expand the shoulder on the property side of the Daniel Webster Highway and put in a guardrail on the opposite side of the street. There's a bit of a bank that goes down to Horseshoe Pond. This property cuts just inside that 250-foot shoreland buffer. There is only minor work being done inside that buffer on the property. Most of it's within the right-of-way itself. Minimal expansion of pavement to the road, mostly restriping, not too much. We have submitted a shoreland application. I have not received comments. It's under technical review at the time. A copy of that was submitted to the town manager for the Board of Selectmen. In addition, we've also submitted two applications to the town, one for the site plan review to the planning board and another for the zoning board to get a special exception granted for the gasoline station use in the commercial district. With that, I'll turn it over to you with any questions.
When do you go back before the planning and zoning board?
The zoning board is on the 30th, so this Wednesday. And then the planning board is late December, I think the 21st, not the 6th, 21st.
Could you just briefly go over the drainage, like the flow, water flow?
Oh, sure,
off
yeah.
Up the pavement and stuff like that.
Yeah, so today, all of it infiltrates on site, so we've mirrored that today. So we don't have any additional stormwater running off of the property. Today, it all gets captured and then treated and detained and treated through flow-through systems and catch basins. We're not doing any subsurface infiltration. It's all detained. And then, again, through gravity flow through a catch basin in place proprietary system that treats the stormwater that enters. We have installed an overflow pipe that goes to the municipal drainage network in the road that is new. It is there as an overflow for large storm events that exceed our capacity for the systems. Right now, we're at 100-year storm event is in our capacity, so it would be something beyond that would cause the system to have an overflow and go into the municipal drainage network.
I did see you provided us the drainage report with the pre and post summaries, and I saw that those all went down. Where are there fuel water separators, and where are they located?
There is no oil water separators on the property. The fuel systems, if there's a spill, the pad around the dispensers has what we call PLBs. They're grooves at the end of the tank pad that captures any spills up to 5 gallons around that. So there are spill kits that are kept on site for the fueling facilities. This is all very standard. It's all part of the DES rules and regulations, federal regulations that we'll be abiding by. And those capture any spills. The canopy keeps stormwater from draining onto the property, onto the dispenser area. And it's graded so that all water does not flow onto the dispenser pad. We're required by the state to make sure all that runoff goes away from the pads. It doesn't get on the pads. There's no particulates from the pads going into the drainage network.
Okay. And there's, for the current use, there's no oil water separators?
No, not for the current use. No, the washing system has its own self-contained system, and then there's just a sewer service that goes out
I
to
see.
that. We are maintaining the existing services.
Mhm.
There's a service for the car wash and a service that goes to the garage. We're just going to disconnect them when we do our demolition and then reconnect them back up. And we're working with the Public Works to make sure that we are meeting the town standards for those connections.
Yeah, and forgive my ignorance on this, but how does this process play out? So has DES already, have you presented this plan to them in terms of that fuel?
We've designed the
dispenser?
station. We haven't submitted the application. It's pending approval of the use from the zoning board.
Okay. So that's all right, so the zoning board approves it and then you get DES?
Yeah, if the zoning board approves the special exception, then we'll proceed with the gasoline design and submit that to DES for review and compliance.
I did have one other question. So I did see the existing island, and this is on the grading and drainage overview, but the existing island extensions looked like they were expanded on both sides of the entrance. What is it, grading at the entrance that prevents sheeting or rainwater from going into the DW highway?
Yes.
That's achieved
Yeah.
all through what?
Yeah, it's a berm. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's catch basins nearby to collect, and that's a low point to connect the water.
Okay.
So that is a good point. It separates to make
Mhm.
sure there's no run on to Daniel Webster Highway.
Okay, yeah, that obviously is our primary concern, is the stormwater not going in that direction.
You have one note, yeah. That needs to be changed, on page 2 of 16. It's just your mulch. It says loose hay or straw, and we frown on hay, so just
Okay,
straw.
okay,
Like that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Straw. Okay.
Anyone else?
Sir, could you spell your last name? It was Russell Rutgers or Rutger?
Rucker, Rucker.
Thank you. I was
Rutgers, Rutgers, Rucker.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's in there.
We'll, I'll go ahead and make sure I send before, what is the 30th? Wednesday, right?
Wednesday, yeah.
I'll send a communication to the zoning board before Wednesday that we had reviewed this and aside from straw, didn't have any other concerns.
Oh, excellent. Wonderful.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for presenting that.
Thank you very much. You want me to turn this off or just leave it on?
You can leave it on. Yeah. All right, the next item we have under new business is LMG Merrimack LLC. It's a review for a recommendation to the planning board regarding final approval for a site plan to construct a 100,115 square foot warehouse. The parcel is located off of DW Highway in the I-1 Industrial Aquifer Conservation and Planned Residential Development Overlay Districts. Tax map is 1D, Lot 6. Fantastic.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jim Petropoulos. I'm a professional engineer at Hayner Swanson, doing business at 3 Congress Street in Nashua, New Hampshire, tonight representing LMG Merrimack. And the purpose of being here, similar to the last case, is that your site plan process requires us to come before you, seek your input to the planning board for projects in town, in the Aquifer Protection District. And so what I'd like to do is just spend a few minutes, give you a very brief presentation. I didn't bring a board this evening. I knew you had drawings. I have a little handout that might help follow the presentation. I'll be very brief, and then I'll be here to answer any questions you might have. Let's get you located first. This is property really in the southeast part of Merrimack. It's off the Daniel Webster Highway. The aerial photo I gave you represents the property, 13-acre tract. It is just south of Harris Pond office condominiums, and just north of the Pennachuck Waterworks operations facility, which is really the first lot on the west side of Daniel Webster Highway as you travel north on the highway into Merrimack. This property is an industrial zone property. And we're, as you can see in the aerial, we're abutted by Pennachuck to the south, undeveloped land to the west and to the north. Further north is Harris Pond, both the condos in the back and the commercial in the front. Undeveloped land across the street from Daniel Webster Highway, and a little bit diagonal to us is the Edgebrook development. This land has moderate topography, a little bit of up and down, but in general it tilts back to the south, and I'll talk a little bit about that when I talk about stormwater. Test pits throughout the site, very sandy soils. That's been the kind of the tradition for development out in that part of town. There are no wetlands on this property. The property's not influenced by any nearby wetland buffers either. And we have utilities located along our front door, oddly enough. We have water, we have drainage. One of my first assignments in the early 80s was to design the drain line that ran up to service Harris Pond condominiums. So I'm dating myself. But it's a 36-inch line, and it's got good capacity, and it really carries runoff from Harris Pond and was sized to handle both the Pennachuck property and this property as well. What we're proposing, our client is proposing, is a speculative building. It is a 100,000 square foot light industrial logistics type building. He's seeking tenants in the area that may need space for light industry, light assembly, or distribution possibly in a smaller scale, not some of the bigger buildings that we're seeing through e-commerce. The building is set up really for 2 tenants. Offices will be in the front. Access will come off of Harris Pond Drive, which is a T intersection, it's unsignalized with Daniel Webster Highway. In the front, we have a 133 space car parking lot. And in the back, we have a combination of loading docks and about 10 trailer parking spaces. The property will be serviced, as I said, by municipal sewer, Pennachuck water, and underground telephone and communications and power. With regard to stormwater, the approach is really to catch with curbing and catch basins. There are 2 proposed surface type stormwater practices. One is located in the front, actually on the 3rd sheet, there's kind of a site plan with some grading. One is located in the front, in between the car parking and Daniel Webster Highway. It's a small recharge basin. And then a larger one located to the south. And again, gathering runoff off the roof, off the paved surfaces, deep sump catch basins. We have sediment forebays. That's that first in practice in the treatment train where we're trying to slow down velocities of water. We're trying to remove larger grit particles in the stormwater. And then we give it some residence time in these basins. As you know, over time, it will settle suspended solids. And then we purposely undersize the pipe leaving these practices so it doesn't have a big surge leaving the site. So it's a pretty standard design. We have made our applications to the state of New Hampshire for that. In summary, Mr. Chairman, I think we have a plan going before the planning board in December. I think it's December 20. I think the gentleman said the 21st, but I think it's December 20. We are on the 6th agenda, but I have a conflict that night. I cannot attend. So we'll be there for the 20th. And we feel we've got a compliant plan. Again, no wetland impacts, no buffer impacts. The plans do contain the necessary green SnowPro management, as well as the fertilizer notes in this part of town. So that's baked into our site plan set. So with that, I'd be happy to answer questions.
The site plans, really answered all the questions I normally would have asked about runoff and so forth. The one thing I didn't understand was in the pre and post, the volumes. There was one for the 2-year, I think. It was
Yeah.
2-year. So the runoff actually went up, but the volumes went down.
Yeah, so the modeling is finicky, especially when you have Group A soils, which we have right now, very sandy soils. It doesn't generate a lot of runoff coming off the site in the pre-development condition, and there probably isn't. I will say this, that there is no downstream impact. The brook is right there. There's a properly sized culvert underneath the highway, and then you're into the Pennachuck Brook and into the river. So there isn't a neighborhood below us. So
Is that how you achieve that though? Through all that impervious collection to go straight into the sewer? Is that how I just didn't understand.
Yeah,
Trying to wrap my head
we-
around how volumes would go down.
I've always practiced, quality and quantity, and you want to try to remove particulate coming off these parking surfaces with grit and dirt and things. And then quantity, you want to make sure you don't have a bigger slug of water heading downstream to your neighbor. And, and here we don't really have any encumbrances below us. And so overall, we look to peak storm events to make sure we compare the pre and the post. And And I think we're doing a good job attenuating
Mhm.
the peaks. That's what you look for, peak
Yeah.
rates, yeah.
Just one minor thing, thank you very much for including what you did about Snow Pro and fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
There's just one minor thing on page 1. There's a mention of no phosphate fertilizer. Thank you. That's on
Yeah.
number 11. And then on page 19, number 9, there's mention of using 12-25-12 fertilizer. So please bear in mind we seek no phosphate. This is page 19 of 21, number
Oh.
9 of the text.
Also, page 12, item 4 in the general notes has phosphate in it.
Yeah, I missed it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Well, there's a lot of room for snow removal, or snow storage on site.
Right. And that would be fine, you know, we agree to.
Mike?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Oh.
Look pretty straightforward. Appreciate those read ahead packets, and yeah, I will make sure we get a note off to the planning board.
I thank you for that. Like I said, I think we're on the agenda for the 6th, but I don't think we're going to be heard. We're going to postpone for the 20th, but it will take more than one meeting, I think, and that's fine.
Mhm.
I wish you all happy holidays.
Thank you
Well,
very
thank
much.
you. You too.
Thank you.
All right, the only other item we had under new business was the duck boxes. This is something we revisit pretty much every year around this time. I was able to track down, with the help of community development, we haven't really purchased duck boxes in several years. You all have been here long enough to know we go through this exercise as long as we get cold enough weather to have ice, where we scamper out onto the ice and clean these things out. I think 2 years ago we weren't even able to get out, but
Yeah, it
but
was something a couple of years ago.
yeah, but provided we have enough ice to get out and access these, we clean them out, replace them. Ultimately they tire over time. I think we're missing 2 on Horse Hill when Gage and I were out last winter. But the company we use for these, or have used in the past, is, I have it here. It's Greg's boxes. They're out of the Midwest. But you should have all gotten this in your packet. It is the pricing to include shipping for these duck boxes. If we chose to, this would be the time of year where we should probably place an order to get them, to make sure we get them in, so that when we do go out to change them, we have them. I know we have materials now. We have the Gauge checked. He does have some bedding. There is one duck box left, and that's downstairs, or next door downstairs. But they're not going to go bad when they're in storage. I think my position would be we probably should place an order and get some in, so we're able to replace some.
Are you gonna do with the full door? Instead of the split, would the full door be easier to,
They're a lot
Yeah.
easier to clean.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, might as well.
yeah. Mike felt like the split door might be a little more rugged. There's a little more support there.
Yeah,
But I think all the ones I've seen that really had need to be replaced, it's usually because the tree fell, not because the box fell
yeah.
apart. We've had a few of those where just the tree died and fell, and that's what took that. Didn't matter what kind of door structure.
yeah, we can go with the full door.
Anyone else thoughts?
Now, where's this from?
It's Greg's, the website. I thought Greg's Duck Box. If you Google that, it'll bring up. He actually has a whole website. It's a pretty good website. He doesn't just do wood duck boxes, although wood duck boxes are his specialty. We're happy with the quality of them. He does them super cheap. Compared to, you know, I did look around and saw some others. This is a pretty good price. It includes shipping. And you all, I think you've all been out and probably seen these. They're nice quality boxes.
And how long do they last? About
I don't
roughly?
think they're cedar, right? I don't-
Yeah, they last a long time, but like Steve says, if like the tree falls or something, or
Mhm.
they get knocked somehow, they last quite a while. I don't know, 10 years, something like that.
Mm. And I'm certainly not advocating that we put up more duck boxes because it's labor intensive to get out and clean them all, but just to replace the ones that we know we've lost. I know Gage and I felt like there should have been 7 at Horse Hill and we only found 5. Yeah, more boxes doesn't mean more ducks, but we only have that one opportunity a year to replace.
Yeah, and most of the nesting boxes are successful. Most of them do have
Mhm.
eggs, hatched eggs in them.
Now,
Some
this
of them-
is free shipping or is there a minimum order?
No, so the most economically advantageous way, and I did ask the gentleman through a couple of emails to order them, was to order them in 4 or more. And actually, it does say that here. He gave us a quote for 6. I think that had a further break on shipping.
Would you like a motion?
Too.
Oh, all set?
Just
Mhm.
Okay. I'll make a motion for 6 full door duck nest boxes. That's for a total price of $447 from Fund 53. Yep.
I'll second the motion.
Does that include shipping?
It does.
Yep.
Mhm. I second it. Mike made a motion. I second it. Any further discussion?
I didn't hear the total amount, I'm sorry.
447.
No, seeing no desire for further discussion, all those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Excellent. I'll work with community development and get those purchased so we have them in time. Really, that's all the new business. We didn't have any old business items on the agenda. I put this on here as other business. That's the feedback from our annual presentation to the town council. Really, it wasn't a lot of feedback, but one item I did want to make sure I talked about here was the town council was certainly very appreciative to all the work that goes on behind the scenes, whether it be the various volunteer groups or the subcommittees. They certainly were aware of it. You know, it's more than just meetings that we do, and Andy certainly helped. You know, helped reiterate that. But yeah, the town council. I don't know if those of you who weren't there, and many of you were. You know, if you had a chance to see that presentation, it was part of the minutes from the November 17th town council meeting. And did I miss anything? Were there any other feedback?
You guys did a good job presenting. Thank you.
excellent job.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow. Approval of the minutes. Next item on the agenda.
I move that we approve the minutes of the November 14th, 2022 Conservation Commission meeting with the following amendments. On page 2,
Oh, someone want to second that?
oh, sorry,
Second.
Second by Mike Druin.
thank you. We don't have line numbers here, but we'll see on page 2, third paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line. Instead of left along, left alone. Same page, page 2, bottom line, decel should be deceleration. I think that's automatic transcription that voice recognition. On page 3, third paragraph, second line, that should be contaminated soil. And on page 6, just page 1, line 9, replace Matthew Thornton room with Wasserman property. Just add a quotation mark before Wasserman.
I had nothing to add. Anyone else? No? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended? Motion carries 6-0. It's through our agenda. Someone like to make a final motion?
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Andy,
Second?
second by Mike Boisvert. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.